Hi, I'm Donnie Thacker with Pressure Perfect Products. I'm here to introduce to you the Sweetspot and show you how to install it. When you open your box, you'll have a few different parts. You'll have the unit. You will have a strain gauge, which is the pressure sensor. You'll have a cord with micro USBs on two ends. This will run from the strain gauge to the pressure sensor. You will have an LED card. This is your pressure indicator to tell you in real time if you're pulling too hard or at the optimal pressure. You also have super glue that has been formulated to mount the sensor as securely as possible to the bow. The first step to the installation process will be installing the pressure sensor to your bow. You want to carefully select somewhere on the front of the riser to mount your sensor. It needs to be flat and wide enough for the sensor to not hang off the edges. On this bow, about midway of the riser is the best place. To save time, we have pre-mounted that. What you will do is use a piece of clear masking tape, apply it over the sensor as shown. Once you've found your location and cleaned it with alcohol, you will square the sensor up on the bow. Once the sensor is square, you can fold it back and apply a very small amount of glue on each strain gauge. For time-saving purposes, we have pre-mounted the sensor to the bow. The glue has cured. You'll want to leave this for 30 minutes to make sure the glue has fully cured. You will then take the cable with micro USBs on each end and plug it into the sensor. Once you are plugged in, you will route the cable away from any moving parts or the window, and we'll let it hang until the next step. The next step will be mounting the control unit. Most people will prefer to use it like a sight light and mount it to the sight rod. Once you've mounted the control unit, the cable you left hanging you will plug in to the port that is labeled sensor. You will then want to attach your cable in a way that it does not impose on the flight of the arrow. Once you are sure your cable will not interfere with the arrow, the cable slide, any moving parts on your bow, you will move to the next step. The next step will be mounting your LED card for your real-time indication of pressure. You can mount this anywhere you can see it full draw, on top of the scope, inside the scope. I prefer inside the scope. You'll remove the back of the double-sided tape and stick it on. You will then route the wire around the scope housing and to the control unit and plug it in. The port labeled LED. Here's a completed installation of the Sweetspot and the LED card. It has been mounted inside the scope housing, and the wires have been securely routed back to the control unit. With the lights on, you will be able to see those at full draw. The green will be optimal and the red will be too hard. Once you've installed the Sweetspot and all the wires are securely fastened, you will calibrate the unit. When you turn the unit on, it'll ask you to calibrate. You will hit the select button and the unit will auto calibrate for your bow. It will then ask you to fire a shot. Jesse, if you want to shoot. After you have fired your bow, you will see three numbers. The bottom number is the optimal value at where you fired that shot. The top number is the high value. Every time you shoot, the middle number will be what you fired at. you can go into the menu and see what shot you fired and what value it was. To adjust this setting, this is just a starting point. To adjust this setting, you would go to your optimal value, select it, and lower or raise that number. Your high value can also be lower or raised. This will adjust the threshold of your shot. For beginners, the wider will be the better. For advanced shooters, the tighter the tolerance, the more accurate you will be. So the original calibration is just to get you close. When you have a really good group outside when you shoot, you can go back through and see what you fired at and set the optimal value around whatever is the sweet spot for you when you shoot the best groups. You want to draw your bow. You can see Jesse's lights. The green is when he's at his optimal. If he applies pressure, he will get a red light. If he creeps, the green will go off. He'll apply more pressure and he can make a good shot. For additional information on how to install the Sweet Spot, please visit lancasterarchery.com, sweetspotarchery.com, or our Facebook page at Sweetspot Archery.